Hi everyone, it's Carrie, and today I'm going to show you how I made some pocket cards using the June box from the Hedgehog Hollow. First we're going to start with a card panel here, and I'm just inking it up with some distress oxides. This is twisted citron, and then I'm going to go ahead and change over to peacock feathers. And as I'm inking this on, I am just blending, and I'm going to blend those together once I get to the center. I have just recently discovered that you don't have to do two different panels for these pocket cards. I am just going to do one panel and then cut the pocket out of the panel. So here I have it all inked and blended together, and I'm going to take some distress oxide and some water, and I'm going to splatter it with paint. This is going to be my paintbrush pocket card. While I splatter the top portion with this distress oxide in the blue, I'm covering up the bottom with some scratch paper. I'm using a larger round brush for this and also dotting on some splatters because I'm a little bit perfectionistic, I guess, and I wanted to have a little more control. I'm adding some splatters here, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the green in the twisted citron as well. Just cleaning off my acrylic block, adding some green, and I'll do the exact same thing. When I did the twisted citron, I realized that it wasn't quite dark enough and it didn't really show up. So you'll see here, as soon as I figure that out, as I'm splattering it on, and there's really no added effect here, I decided to go ahead and add some Lucky Clover green splatter paint as well, just to give it a little more color. So you can see when you add the Lucky Clover, you can definitely see that a lot better on this inked panel. So here's the panel, and I'm just about finished here. Going to clean up my surface, my work surface, and this is what I'm going to cut the pocket out of. Now you don't have to do two different panels, see? Just use all the same one. Now I'm going to use the stitching stamp from that same stamp set from the June Hedgehog Hollow box kit. And I'm going to use the antique linen distress oxide to stamp that on. Here you can see my paintbrushes. Those are what I'm going to be using to put in the pocket. So much fun. So I ended up doing this 2 times so that I could see the stitching just a little bit better, but it is a light stitching just to add a little bit of detail. I'm so glad to have my Misty here because I could add that stamp just a couple of times to make it a little bit darker. So I have a top folding card base here, and I'm going to also add some sentiments here. It says eat, sleep, craft, repeat. That's pretty much my life, or I wish it was all the time if I didn't have to work in between there. So I'm arranging those on the pocket, and I'm going to arrange these paintbrushes in the pocket as well the way that I like them. I'm not attaching them yet, but just getting an idea of how I want that to look. So I am using this Nouveau liquid adhesive, and I'm finding that I really like this adhesive. It came in the Hedgehog Hollow craft hamper, or the tool hamper actually, and I've really been enjoying it. So I'm using that to add this one panel to the top fold card, and I'm also going to use it to attach the sentiment, the eat, sleep, craft, repeat. I like to add something heavy. I'm using acrylic blocks here to keep that glued down while it dries. And here I'm just attaching the sentiment. Now to add a little dimension to this card, I wanted to use my Scotch 3M foam tape to pop up this pocket. And so what I decided was I would just go ahead and add that foam tape. Here it is, my big giant roll. I could not live without that crafty tape. It has just a little dimension, and you can actually double it up if you want to. Here I just used one layer of tape, and then I went ahead and just added it right to the top over the paintbrushes. So you'll see here that as I add it, some of them don't stick, so I'm going to rearrange just a few of those here. And once I do, I'll add the whole entire thing to the front of the card. It's just an easy way to attach them all, or maybe not so easy as I'm fiddling with these just a little bit. That one's a little too tall, so moving it down. There you go, and I like it like that. Look at that. This is a really fun card for a crafty friend, and I decided just to add a little more foam tape behind some of those paintbrushes to give it a little more 3D effect, and also to make sure that those stay in place. So I'm adding them to pretty much all of them here, just a little piece of that foam tape. And there you go. To finish off this card, I'm going to take some Nouveau drops and add a few little dots here. I have made these drops. This is what it is, the Nouveau Jewel drops, and it's the Sea Breeze color. I pre-make those and keep it on a sheet because I just like to have them and make sure they're perfect instead of putting them directly on my card. I'm attaching it here with glossy accents, and it's just that simple. That will finish our card off here. And it's so cute, and it's so ready to send to a crafty friend. A very easy card to make. And now I'm going to show you one more card, and this is my money card. Would you believe I found some of this play money right in my craft room? I am going to use that denim stamp that I just pointed to, and I'm going to ink it up with Versamark, which is a sticky ink. And then I will emboss it with some white embossing powder. Now this card came to be because I was thinking, well, what else would you put in a pocket? And as I was brainstorming, of course you would put money in a pocket. My favorite part is, well, I should say my favorite part of life is when I put some money in my pocket, usually a $20 bill. I like these $50 and $100 bills though too. When I put that in my pocket and then I don't wear those pants for a while, and when I put them on again, I find money in my pocket. Do you ever do that? Or is it just me? Anyway, it is so fun to do that. So here I am, just finishing up that embossing, and then I'll just ink up this panel to show all that beautiful texture from the embossing powder. I did use white embossing powder, by the way, and I'm using Distress Oxide in Peacock Feathers and Faded Jeans. And now I'm just going to apply that pocket with the money and kind of have it on an angle here, just to make the card a little more fun. And I'll go die cut out that pocket. See, you don't have to do an extra panel. I'm just going to die cut it right out, and then I'll arrange that money inside the pocket. That's going to look good right there. Who wouldn't like a pocket full of money, right? And I'll use that liquid glue again just to glue it right down to the pocket. This is such an easy card to make. Quick and easy for when you need to give a little money to someone. Now this is not real money, I know, but you could put real money inside of here without gluing it down. You don't want to glue it in if you're going to use real money. But I have done some of these pocket cards for gift cards, and you'll see another one in my part 2 of this video. So I'm going to use that liquid glue once again. Glue that down to the top fold card. This time it's a landscape card. And then I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of the pocket to give it some more dimension. There's my trusty giant roll of foam tape again. You know, when I get low on this foam tape, I start getting a little anxious. I should probably just keep an extra roll of that on hand at all times. The giant roll, don't you think? I don't know if you use this foam tape, but I could not live without it. So there, I just attached 2 layers of the foam tape to give it some extra dimension. And as I'm attaching that sentiment, I used the 1 sentiment from the June box. The only difference between men and boys are the price of their toys. I thought that was cute, but it needed something. So here I found a stamp in the same stamp set that says All-Star, and I thought it would be cute as a little label on the side of the pocket. Kind of to look like, you know, a Levi's tag, only it says All-Star. Well, I wasn't very happy with my first attempt at that. It came out a little bit blurry, so here I am trying it again. And I'm just going to emboss that with white on the other side. And then I will fold that over and trim it up to make it look just the perfect size for a tag for this pocket. And I'll use just one layer of that 3M foam tape to attach it. It gives it a little dimension. Oh, but first I took a little bit of the blue Distress Oxide and went around the edges because that added just a little more interest to the tag and gave it some more life. So there you see the 3M foam tape, and I'm adding that. And I'll add some 3M foam tape just to the right of that sentiment, double it up. And then on the left side, I'll use the liquid glue to attach it. Just super simple, easy to make this quick card for someone who needs a little money in their life. Hey, I would love to get a card like this. So there's 2 cards. I hope you'll join me for part 2 where I share a few more of these pocket cards. Thanks so much for watching.